Hey, what is up guys? Calum or Calum's Fish Tanks, and today I had a little bit of extra free time, so I decided I'm going to give you guys an update on the purple and pink Aquascape behind me. So this tank has really been a pain. For the past maybe 3 months, I've dealt with a ton of hair algae. I don't have it anymore, thank God. It's been free from the hair algae for about 3 or 4 weeks now. But it had me really wanting to tear down this tank at points, and I don't really know what I did to fix it, so I'm not really going to get too much into that. Now, it's not like the hair algae just magically disappeared. There was a bunch of steps I had to take to get rid of this stuff, and I don't really know which of those worked, which made it worse, so I'm not going to let you guys know all the steps I made. I feel like I'd just be spewing a bunch of useless information out on the internet, and I find there's enough of that already. One of the changes I did make, though, was I bought an American flagfish. These guys are supposed to eat hair algae, which I learned they definitely do. There's one in this tank, and I wouldn't recommend going and buying one if you think that's going to solve your hair algae problems. She definitely helps a little bit, snacks on it here and there, but not enough to take care of the problem, and I did have it for about a month after I got her, and I think it was the other changes afterwards that may have helped fix this hair algae in my case. So like I mentioned, the hair algae's been gone maybe 3 or 4 weeks. It just freshly got rid of it, and I haven't really wanted to show this tank till I figured out that problem, because honestly, who wants to watch a tank full of algae? So I finally got rid of it, and I'm super happy. One thing I have noticed though is I don't think I've been dosing enough fertilizer. I lost all the hair algae, and I noticed a bunch of the bottom leaves on an indicator species I added in the last video, Rotala macrandra, isn't doing the hottest. There's a bit of deficiencies in the leaves, so recently I chose to add some root tabs, as well as I upped my dosage of the Macro Lush KF. This is from Advitin, and I was dosing only about 1 milliliter a week, which isn't what this recommends. You're supposed to have at least 2 per 8 gallons, and this tank's about 7.5. So I upped the dosing to 2 milliliters this week, and we're going to see how things do. Hopefully it helps with those deficiencies. Like I mentioned, I also added the root tabs because these rotalas are heavy root feeders. Same with the bucephalandra. Now that the hair algae's cleared up, the plants are really starting to get going. I found they were growing a lot under there, but now that it's all gone, I can really see how much they've grown. The main goal of this tank was to grow a couple different rare species of bucephalandra. I have 4 different ones in there, which I'll show you guys now. I'm super happy with the growth they've had. Some aren't doing the best, but the colors are really starting to come out, and this is starting to become a purple and pink aquascape, which I'm super excited about. I do want to move some things around in there today, because it is a little bit of a mess, but I'll get to that shortly, and I'll show you guys all that as well. Speaking about new purple and pink plants, I recently ripped out all of the cryptflamingo in my 24-gallon tank. I replanted about 10, and then I still had a ton left over, so I probably planted about 8 in here. They're all the really little small babies you get off the crypts, and I'm really excited to see those grow out, and they should definitely do a good job in turning this tank a lot more pink. Eventually I want to move those into this empty tank behind me, which is going to be a new project you guys will see eventually. I'm going to be doing a dark start video soon, hopefully, or not dark start, dry start, and it's a Scape I'm really excited to get going. So I added these crypts maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and one thing I was really worried about was the melting. If you don't know, crypts tend to melt, and dealing with some rare crypts like cryptflamingo, melting will break a person's heart. So I was really worried I'd have a lot, but it's been about 2 or 3 weeks. Within the first week, one of the leaves started melting, one of the bigger leaves from one of the crypts, and I thought, oh no, here it comes. But luckily, after that, there was no more melting, and only a single leaf was lost. All the other plants are doing great so far, but it's only been 2 or 3 weeks, but I think they should be fine, and hopefully they'll all grow out into big, beautiful crypts. So the plan today is to do a little bit of work on this tank, tear out some plants, add some new ones. One of the plants I want to tear out today is the Hygrophila polysperma tiger. This is a super good looking plant, and I love it in here, but it just grows too fast. I trimmed it right down to the ground a couple of days ago, but it was all over the place, sending runners all the way across the tank, and I just don't really want to deal with it. If you remember, I added this plant because it is a super fast grower and it would help use up a lot of those nutrients early on, but now that the tank is sort of establishing itself, I don't really need it in there, and I'm going to switch it for something a little bit nicer that I think will contrast really well against the purple and pink. One thing I do kind of like about this tank is it's not really natural. It's not like a typical nature aquarium. The colors are very otherworldly, and it kind of looks like an alien planet. So the plan today is to kind of make an alien scape, kind of make it more like that. What I thought would fit this perfectly were some stainless steel outflows. I think these look super futuristic and really cool. So I'm gonna add these onto the tank instead of the green Eheim pipes I have on there now. I think they'll give it a great touch, plus they'll be easy to clean, and I don't know, I think it'll look super cool, so I'm adding those today as well. So I made my little switch around. I removed all of the Hygrophila polysperma tiger and replaced it with Nausea pediculata golden, which is a super cool plant which will produce this really nice bright yellow color. I'm super excited to have it in Escape again. I used to have it in the 45p, but it didn't really do the best. I forgot to get some before shots, but I also changed the pipes as well, and I wish I got the tank before I switched everything around. One little problem is this one isn't changed on. I realized I ordered the size too small, unfortunately. So we're just gonna go with the outlet, which I think looks a lot better. I mean, it's the only one at the front of the glass, and you can barely see the inlet in the tank, so this is fine. And I'll just hold on to this in case I find a project that can ever use a hose this small. If you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below and to subscribe as well. Next video, like I mentioned, I'm going to be scaping this tank behind me, and that one I'm super excited to get started on. As this tank is getting older, it's kind of moving a little bit further away from a pink and purple aquascape. I've decided I wanted to add like a little bit of contrast. So I already had Rotella tulanedensis in there, which is this bright lime green that gets a little bit of pink on the top. But I decided to add that Nausea pediculata golden because I think the bright yellow and orangish color it gets will contrast really well against all the purples in the tank, and it's one I'm really excited to have grow out. So I'll continue to update you guys on this tank behind me because there's still lots of work to be done, and it's far from being a complete scape. The plants are slow growing, like I mentioned at the start of this series, so they still have a long way to go, but soon this tank should be full of purple and pink plants with a little bit of yellow and a little bit of green. But anyways guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. This was Calum's Fish Tanks. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.